Shifting gears, the next really big fight in boxing is, David Benavidez, Demetrius Andrade. Andrade's been asking for a big fight since like 1975. So, you know, he finally got one. Um, do you think he's quite the same guy that he was before? I know I've heard Paulie Malignaggi say that, Andrade is still really, really good, but he's 35 now, feels like he's, you know, slipped a little bit. So do you think he's still the same guy?
Um, 35 is definitely an age where you start to look for decline in athletes in general. But I don't know. I haven't seen any evidence that he slipped, to be honest. But we haven't seen him in against a certain level of guy. It's not like he's like you know getting dropped and earning split decisions and scraping by guys that he should beat. He's still, the results of his fight have always been the same results that he's getting now. He kind of if he don't clip you early, he kind of just cruises to decisions. So I I'm not disagreeing with Paulie, but I haven't seen evidence of him slipping.
Would you take Andre to win that fight, or do you think Benavidez is just too much offensively?
Um, I think Andre has a good shot of winning. I think that he's proven to be a winner. He has a, um, a very high amateur pedigree, something that David doesn't have.
Mhm.
Which does count as far as being able to score points. Um, he has an awkward style. David is a slow starter. Andre is a fast starter. So, Andre could conceivably get out to a good lead before David starts to come on. Um, and, consistency at this level is the true marker for greatness. And um, we got to see how David is going to perform after some video has been out on him of him, you know, kind of getting outboxed the first half of the fight versus Caleb Plant. So Andre could come. What happens is, with all fighters is people study your flaws and your weak points. So now they didn't seeing, like, okay, you can do this to David. Okay, great fighter, but he does have some flaws. So Andre and his team, what they could do is they could put together something and mimic some of the things that Caleb was able to do with him. Because honestly, the first 6 rounds was like scripted. Like we didn't have trouble until Caleb got hit with a big body shot, and then the fatigue set in. But the first 6 rounds was scripted. They exactly how we wanted them. So so David and his team, they're gonna have to adjust to people seeing them have a couple of some tough moments and some weaknesses, and they're gonna have to deal with that. And that's how fighters, that's how great fighters prove that they great because once the video is out on them and once their flaws is out, then they still able to adjust and keep winning and keep maintaining at the top level. I'm not saying David can't because I think David is the truth. I think he should be on the pound for pound list. But now, after he had that trouble in that fight, now we're gonna see, if he could adjust to some of his flaws and get better and overcome, some of the things that Andre is gonna try to do. I can remember when Oscar did when Bernard Hopkins was about to fight Felix Trinidad, he talked about how he watched the blueprint of Oscar and he just took it to the next level. And that's exactly what he did. He stayed on his toes, kept the fight in the center of the ring, used his jab, kept turning Tito, um, kept his right hand up to take away Tito's left hook. He fought a great fight. But, great artists, they steal from other people. And Bernard took the game plan to the next level. So I wouldn't be surprised if Demetrius could take the game plan to the next level. I'm not counting him out. I don't favor him because I just simply don't know enough about him. So conventional wisdom says that David comes on the second half of the fight and wins the fight. So I don't favor Demetrius, but we really don't know what he is because we haven't seen him in. He could be a great fighter in high. Before the Terrence Crawford Earl Spence fight, you
Mhm.
know, when we're talking about Crawford's resume, his resume. And then what they didn't know is that they was looking at a great fighter who had been denied opportunities. And I feel the same way about Boots Ennis. And that's something that me and you talked about, that we looking at a great fighter, but people don't realize he's a great fighter because he's been denied opportunities. And, quite frankly, the better fighters, if they aren't the biggest stars, they're going to get denied opportunities. You get opportunities when the managers and promoters see that you're flawed, and then they put you in there because they believe that other guys can beat you or other guys are more willing to fight you. But if they don't see enough flaws, then you might not get those fights. That's the little secrets in boxing that people don't really want to talk about. So a guy like Demetrius Andrade, and I'm not saying that everybody ducked him because some things probably was his fault, but that's neither here nor there. But we don't know what he is really, and Terrence Crawford just showed us that he was a great fighter. Now they're talking about Crawford hypothetical matchups with Floyd, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson. That's how good that he performed against Earl Spence. But before the fight, the people who picked Spence kept talking about Terrence Crawford's resume. So I gotta leave room for error with analyzing Demetrius Andrade because he really hasn't fought nowhere near on the level. You don't know. I think the best fighter he's fought was maybe Jack Colkay. A few years ago, he was like the WBA regular champion. They had a pretty tough fight.
I'd probably
Um,
say
you know,
Matarosian, maybe Matarosian.
okay, they're around the same
Okay.
level of guy. Monta
Yeah,
Rose and Colkay. That's about right. But that's it's been nowhere near the I think Monta Rosen was maybe like 10 years ago,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
been nowhere near the level of David Benavidez, especially that size. If think Monta Rosen, I'm not mistaken, was at 154 when he first won the title.
definitely
So it's
was. Yep.
definitely haven't been anybody that's yeah. So just a very long time ago. But his resume is kind of thin to have been a pro since 2008 is my point. But it may be because he's a great fighter and people don't want to fight him. So we don't know. Um, Conventional wisdom says David comes on late, and I'm not going to go too far against the grain, but I'm leaving it open that Demetrius might be a great fighter, and he just never had a chance to prove it. I think that especially the first few rounds, because Demetrius, very rarely have I seen him lose one of the first 4 rounds of a fight. And I've seen David consistently lose the first 4 rounds of fights. Actually, the fight was kind of, Caleb was cruising on him early in the fight. David takes a little bit of time to get worked up.
Yeah.
So you're not going to just, keep losing rounds early and have to keep coming back. Eventually, that's going to run out on you. A guy going to figure out a way to do the second half, or he going to punish you in the way in the first half where you won't be able to step on the gas pedal. So
Mm.
I'm curious to see it. I make David a slight favorite in my mind simply because I know more about him than Demetrius. But I think it should be a really competitive fight. And I love Andre Rozier in the corner.
Mm.
He gives real good, clear, precise instructions, man, and he's really calm in the corner. He knows how to get guys through fights, so I could see that. I could see them doing a good job and you know giving David a run for his money.